The Legend of Zelda, one of gaming's most beloved franchises. It's been defining childhoods longer than Toy Story and taken us on beautifully woven adventures. So, I figured that'd be a reason enough to make a top 5 list. Sure no one's ever done that before. Zelda games are always packed to the brim with intriguingly designed dungeons. Everyone has their own favorites, of course, where each puzzle and battle felt like your heart was under the allure of an exotic Spanish dancer, and I have no idea what I'm talking about. Alright, and now with the help from an amorphous blob of unbridled enthusiasm, let's count down the top 5 3D Zelda dungeons. Take it away, Kirby. Number 5. Ancient Cistern, Skyward Sword. While the sand ship may have had a robotic pirate and a kraken, or at least Nintendo's impression of a kraken, Ancient Cistern was for me the standout temple. I felt Skyward Sword to be, for lack of a better word, kinda derpy. But I found the duality of this dungeon to be quite intriguing. You raise and lower the giant Buddha-esque statue in the middle, gain access to either the picturesque heaven side, or descend into the more dangerous and eerie underworld. I genuinely enjoyed the juxtaposition here, and this part right here, climbing the rope to safety when these fuckers spawn out of nowhere, is the most terrifying moment in Zelda history. Yes, even more terrifying than this. And even this. You do get to fight a Machamp wannabe skeleton swordmeister, which is kinda cool, and are also rewarded with the whip, which I'm hoping Link and Zelda don't use in the bedroom. The dungeon's greatest strength is that it features one of the coolest boss fights ever. Why? Well, even though he can't play the bongos like, well, you know, or shoot lasers out of his ass, he can wield 6 blades at once. Suck on that, Grand Tiki Man. Although this does turn out to be his greatest weakness, as our chosen hero can happily and very literally tear him limb from limb. And if you're feeling particularly gory, can even use his own weaponry to deliver the coup de grace. A quick word of advice, if you want to act like a badass, you better make sure there isn't a weapon designed to rip your arms off in the previous room. Just a thought. Heh, look how fat that kid is. He can't snowboard, that's crazy. Number 4. The Spirit Temple, Ocarina of Time. You don't really hear people go on about the Spirit Temple, do you? Perhaps the utter creepiness of the Shadow Temple, the game of whack-a-mole with Volvagia, and Dark Link all overshadowed it. It's a shame really, because while it doesn't possess the greatest puzzles, it still delivers in so many other exciting ways. Like as soon as you enter the dungeon you're attacked by 2 flying pots, which I can only imagine are controlled by Darth Malak or something. I would always block them with my shield and feel like such a badass in the process. Kinda like, yeah, I just broke some pots. Bring it, Ganondorf. It also gave young Link purpose again. Not only can you use your bombs and boomerangs to solve various puzzles, but you even get to fight an Iron Knuckle with your Kokiri sword. Your Kokiri sword. You know the very first item you get that by this point is being held together with duct tape and Deku nuts? Needless to say, it's one of the most challenging parts in the entire game. You can return as Adult Link, which means you get not 1, but 2 new items in the form of the Silver Gauntlets and the beautiful Mirror Shield. Look at that thing, reflecting and shit. It gets even better, because not only do the constant red carpets marking each room make you feel like you're going to the Golden Globes, or the Hylian Golden Globes? Yeah, there's probably a witty pun in there somewhere. But you also get to showdown against the nefarious Twin Rover. I love this fight, not for its clever use of the elements or the fact that there's 2 of them, which more Zelda temples should emulate, but for the fact that after you defeat them, little halos appear over their head, much to their dismay. Don't feel too sorry for them. In Majora's Mask they end up running their own potion shop. And a boat cruise. Apparently. Number 3. Snow Peak Ruins, Twilight Princess. The Snow Peak Ruins. Essentially a giant mansion in the middle of effing nowhere, and something I mentioned in my top 5 ice levels video. So yeah, now comes the difficult part of mentioning something I didn't say the first time. I got it! This temple is widely regarded as one of the best in the series. It's got fun puzzles, a giant knight that would make a fine Scooby-Doo villain, a stew-making Yeti, and a ball and chain that can literally crush icebergs. The Yetis, yes there's 2 of them, are quite funny in particular. The big dude promises to help you out, but all he really cares about are ingredients for soup. Did you see that? He just pushed the hero of Twilight. You would not get away with that in Smash Brothers, sir. The design of the dungeon, like most in Twilight Princess, fits perfectly. It is the Yeti's home after all, so the kitchen and lounge room are quite peaceful, but fairly soon other sections become quite hazardous, with a large open courtyard full of hidden enemies. What I especially loved was using these old relic cannons to blast my way into other sections of the mansion, and using the bomb to fire them was just a nice touch. The final boss is pretty cool too, since we get to hear the glorious sound of ice shattering against our massive flail in what seems like Link versus the biggest ice Pokemon ever. Wait, what? Once more? The only thing that was missing was a Luigi's Mansion Easter egg. Just imagine Link using the Poltergeist 3000. Still a better love story than Twilight. Number 2. Forsaken Fortress, Wind Waker. Wind Waker. Like the ugly duckling of the Zelda games. First everyone was like, ew, but now we're all like, yeah! I've never read The Ugly Duckling. Anyway, moving on. Link's second venture into the Forsaken Fortress is for me the most memorable part of Wind Waker. Yes, even more memorable than stabbing Sumo Ganon in his sumo head with your anti-sumo sword. Sumo. The dungeon starts with you bombarding the fortress aboard your boat, which to me felt more badass than the Siege of Gondor. Especially considering it's this little kid in this itty bitty boat sailing about like, yeah! Gotcha! This also provides stark contrast to your first endeavor into the fortress where you're launched via catapult and smash your face against solid rock. Way to take one for the team there, Link. This epic moment is trumped, however, by the instant emergence of Phantom Ganon, aka the mini-boss.
You gone done it now, boy.
And while he's not nearly as cool as OOT's variant, you do get the Skull Hammer, where its epicness is matched only by how much it manages to dwarf our so-called hero. Shut up. Will you shut up? Back off! Seriously, who thought that sound effect was a good idea? Oh my god, you saved all your friends, yeah! Wait, look at me, I've got chest hair. Man. Oh no, Helmarok King! I love Helmarok King, honestly. The first time fighting him was so cool. He's just so grand in scale, and smashing his face in with your newly acquired Skull Hammer was so gratifying. Jesus, Link, calm down, it's just a heart container. Oh no, it's Ganondorf! Better call not Smaug! Charizard, use the flamethrowers! It's super effective! All joking aside, this dungeon was awesome from beginning to end. Number 1. Arbiter's Grounds, Twilight Princess. My personal favourite dungeon from The Legend of Zelda, and with good reason. Everything about it was near perfection. The dead creepy atmosphere, the plethora of undead Oompa Loompas, and let's not forget the awesome boss fight whose major weakness is a... I'm not complaining, that spinning shit was awesome. Holy shit, what the fuck is that? The dungeon sets the mood perfectly with the shifting sands and decrepit architecture. The stepping stones and lunging weird sand snake things in the first room just scream everything in this dungeon will kill you. And then you're greeted to the vaguely similar design of Ocarina of Time's Forest Temple. Only this time the pose looked like Nazgul, and instead of just vanishing into thin air, you leap on top of them and quite literally rip their soul out. I'm not saying Arcanine Link is cooler than Aragorn or anything, but yeah, he's totally cooler than Aragorn. The Arbiter's Grounds was packed to the brim with dangerous puzzles. One in particular felt the need to punish you by sending starfoes, skeletons, and creepy-ass scarab beetles after you for daring to employ trial and error. Combat in this dungeon was so much fun, and even presented some much-needed challenge, with starfoes forcing Link to use bombs to finish the job. Starfoes have always been one of the most fun enemies to fight, so imagine my jubilation when I could fight Skeleton Godzilla Man of Doom with Doomy stuff, using nothing but the spinner, dodging mummies, shattering spines, grinding from rail to rail and gadooshing him in the face. And just for the record, his official name is Skeleton Godzilla Man of Doom with Doomy stuff. The Arbiter's Grounds combined excellent level design, awesome enemies, and a compelling atmosphere to create my personal favourite Legend of Zelda dungeon ever. Now give me the HD remake already! That was harder than I thought. There were quite a few dungeons I had to leave out. But anyway, I want to know what your favorite dungeons of all time are. Next up, top 5 Resident Evil moments. So if you're a fan of giant sharks and punching boulders, then make sure to subscribe so you don't miss it. Thank you all so very much for watching. I'm Rude Devil. I'll see you next time. Bye!